Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Burlak, the Inner Vision Navigator, and this is your inner champion. I had to take a moment and I had to do this video about what happened yesterday with the Chauvin guilty verdicts on all three counts. Something I had to share with you that I didn't realize was happening with me until just yesterday. But after the guilty verdict was read, I realized for the first time in my entire life just how traumatized I am. Because I am tired of not being seen for who I am. I'm tired of yelling out to the rooftops and nobody hearing me. I'm tired of showing and presenting my strength, my inner beauty, the inner essence of what I am about, and people simply overlooking it, particularly people in power. And I realized as I was looking out on that screen that I'm not alone. There are millions of us out there who are feeling that frustration, that anger of not being seen, of not being heard, even worse, of yelling out what we're experiencing and other people out there telling us, no, you're not experiencing that, or giving some excuse about why they see things so differently, and literally rubbing our faces in our own emotions. And it's frustrating beyond measure, and it's terrifying because we can't see the end of it. And I looked out across that screen and I realized we're all feeling it. It reminded me of a quote I read actually years ago by Zora Neale Hurston, the famous author during the Harlem Renaissance, 1920s. And she wrote, how can anybody hate me? Can't they see how beautiful I am? And the answer is no. They can't see her. They couldn't see her, or even worse, they refused to see her. Even as intelligent as she was, even as the author of these books who would transform lives, they couldn't see her. They couldn't recognize who she was. It also brought me to a scene, one of my favorite movies, The Shawshank Redemption. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. Very good. There's a character there, Morgan Freeman, a character called Red, who's one of the main characters. And for decades, he's been in prison for a crime that he committed, that he acknowledged that he committed as a young man. And for decades, he appeared in front of these parole boards trying to convince them that he was rehabilitated, right? And that he should be set free. And for decades, they heard him, they let him speak, and then denied him. And so finally, after decades of this, he's sitting in front of a parole board, and this young man asks him, are you rehabilitated? And he responded, I don't even know what you mean. And so the guy tries to actually define rehabilitation, and he sits there and he interrupts him, Morgan Freeman, and he says, listen, I know what you think it means, Sonny. But then he said something that I never forgot and that came back to me yesterday. He said, I'm not upset because I'm here. I'm upset because you think I should be. And I thought about that. It hit me like a brick yesterday that that's the frustration I feel, that people see me as less than simply because of the color of my skin or what their preconceived notions of me are. And if you want to know the irony of all of this, to me, this hit me yesterday too. The people on the other side of this who see this thing so differently, they're feeling the same frustration and they're feeling the same anger. They even, for the same reasons, they're yelling out, you're not hearing us. You're not seeing us. We're losing the country that's so familiar and comfortable to us. And the thing that they're not saying is we're terrified. We're afraid because we're losing the world that we know and we don't know how to handle that. And you see it manifest day in and day out in these killings and this anger and frustration, this racism. And that's the irony. We're all feeling it. We all are impacted by this in one way or the other. This is a human condition, this feeling of not being seen and not being heard. So how do we get past this, right? What's the answer? So here it is. I got it for you. It's fundamental, but it's so difficult because the real answer, the way through to this is we as a community, as a nation, we have to finally answer the question, who are we? See, I know what our national birth certificate says, right? I know who it says we are, but it's not who we've lived ourselves to be. It's not who we've shown. Martin Luther King talked about this promissory note that has not been redeemed, right? And he was talking about our founding documents, right? Telling that we were all equal, and yet we were not living this. So our birth certificate says that we're all equal and that we all have rights and that are fundamental to each of us, and yet we're not living it because we have failed to answer the question, who are we? And we have got to get together once and for all and get through this and listen and hear one another, understand where the fears are coming from, and reach out to one another. Reach out and say, I hear you, I see you, here's what we can do. And until we do that, round and round we'll go. Because matter of fact, within 24 hours, another 16-year-old young girl was shot and killed. And so we've got work to do. We've got to answer the question, who are we? We've got to reach out to one another and become the America, become the nation, become the world that our national birth certificate said that we are. So I want to say this in light of all of that as a model. I want to do this today. If nobody else has told you this today, I want to be the first. Let me be the first. I see you. I hear you. I love you. And if there's anything that I can do to help you, then reach out to me. Drop a comment. Let me know. And if I can help you, if it's within my power, I will. And that goes out to anyone. I don't care what you look like. I don't care what you profess your faith to be. If I can help you, I will. So the question becomes, how do we even do that, right? How do we reach out to one another? How do we help one another? How do we get to the point where we're answering the question, who are we, together? Well, if you want to know, click the link below. Get my book, Broadcast Your Inner Champion. It's complimentary because you deserve answers. You should have it. You should know that you're not alone in your quest to find out the answers to bring you peace of mind, to be seen and to be heard, and to help those around you be seen and be heard as well, so that there is healing. Hit the subscribe button. There's more coming. I've got a lot to say. You're ready to hear it. I look forward to being there with you and helping you through this process. So until then, that's it for today. Until I see you again, broadcast your inner champion.